Great, we got our intro screen going, but we have no title on that intro screen. So now we got to blit the title. If we look at this code here, what are we doing? We are creating a certain font. We're setting the font equal to none. I think that sets it to Arial. I'm not sure. And then it sets this to the size of the font to be 100, which is what we want. Um, And then we could say, okay, this font object, I'm going to render it and I'm going to put the word Pong on it. So what this function call here does, or what this method, the render method, and render is a method because font is an object, right? So whenever you're talking about the functions for a class, you're using the word method, right? So this here creates an object of type font. We put it in here, and we have the font object. We're running the render method on it, and we're passing these argument values. The first argument is a string, and that's going to be what text is going to be placed on the surface that is returned by font.render. Right, so font.render, it returns a surface, just like pygame.surface does. Like what we use to get our surfaces for our paddle. It does the same thing, except renders is slightly different because it puts text onto that surface. Okay, and the surface is transparent, but the text is not transparent. So that's the way render works. And that's the code that happens in the background. And so this one, I forgot exactly what that is, but let's just ignore that. And then black is the color of the font that's going to appear. So we go ahead and run this here, and we save it into the variable called title. And that brings us to this line here, which is get rect. And get rect gets the rect information of this surface. Okay. And so something that you need to understand about get rect and surfaces is when you create a surface and you don't specify what position on the screen to put that surface, calling get rect on that surface is always going to give you a rect with an x value of 0 and a y value of 0. So the top left corner of the screen. So when you create a surface, the default value of the rect information of that surface is always 0, 0. All right. And so we're going to save it here in title pos. This should be changed. This should be title rect probably. So then we save it in title pos. And then we come to this method, the screen.getRect. Right? So every surface has a rect. Even the screen is also a surface. The screen is a surface that fills the screen. Right? So calling getRect on it returns basically the size of the screen, right? The position of it. So then running center X on the screen's rect gives you the center point of the screen. So I think our screen was 970 pixels wide. So then this call here would give you 970 divided by 2. Okay, so right down the middle. And what this does here is it is setting the title's rect, the center of it, equal to the center of the screen's rect. So basically what we're doing here is we're setting the x position, we're putting this surface that we just made that's going to have the title of Pong on it to the center of the screen, right? Because we're setting its center to the screen's center. Okay, so that is that. And now that we have all that going, well, we can blit it to the screen, and we just blit it right here. See that? So let's go ahead and add all this to our game. So I'm going to copy that, come right in here. It's going to drop right in there somewhere, and I'm going to just take my blit and put it right here after I fill the screen with white. So let me go ahead and do that, erase this extra code. And you can see here I'm using a black variable, but I don't have it, so I probably want to make it global. So I make the black is equal to, and if you're not sure what that is, black is the absence of red, green, and blue. So it's 0 on all accounts. We come back down and we should see it happen. So Again, I'm going to change this to title rect just so that it can make a little bit more sense. We're getting the rect of the surface that we created for the title, and we're putting it in title rect. Then we're setting the center of the title to the center of the screen. And then here I need to change this blit, and then finally we're blitting the rect. We're blitting the rect onto the screen. We're blitting the surface that has the word Pong on it to this location, which we set to the center of the screen. Okay, so then I run it, and this is what happens. Ooh, why is it blinking? But anyhow, we have a white background, and we have the Pong text on it. And so maybe if I run it one more time, it'll run fine. No, it does not. Let's see, is there anything that's happening here that's causing that? I think that if you put this code into your, I'm fairly confident, like I'm 95% confident, and I always say I'm the highest level of confidence that I ever have is 95%. So I'm never confident about anything, but I'm fairly confident that you follow this example and you won't get the blinking, right? So you'll just get the Pong blitted onto the screen. So go ahead and do that, and boom, you got the title.